Hi there, everyone, and welcome to the first official YouTube video for the channel. Not podcast, but individual YouTube video for the channel. Something a little bit new. We thought we'd diversify, bring some more content to your ears and eyes, of course. You've still got me and James accompanying you, but today, as you can tell by the title, we are going through the key components of a transfer window. Who are we keeping? Who are we selling? And who's going to journey out on loan for the season? I gave James a list of players. It is all the starting 11s you're used to seeing, the main squad, and like your key loanees. I'm talking your Cameron Archers, your Tims, your Ramseys, and of course the likes of Kane Kessler-Hayden. Now, this could get a bit tasty because believe it or not, me and James can disagree, can't we?
We can. It's not often, but we can. I'm looking forward to this because, you know, it's a little bit more debatable between us, I think. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into it.
Beautiful. Well, I think we'll start chronologically and we'll go goalkeepers, defence, midfield, and attack, if that works good for you.
Works for me.
Beautiful. Right. I think we're going to start off with probably a nice and easy set of two. Emi Martinez. Keep.
All day long. Keep the keeper.
Robin Olsen.
He's got to go for me. We need, you know, I don't like bringing players down and that and stuff, but yeah, he's got to go for me. He's not good enough. He's been too shaky with his saves and with his feet. So yeah, not in the squad for me.
Yeah, no, it's just not good enough for the cup games. And yeah, when you've got the world's best goalkeeper in there, you need someone that's going to at least be able to live up a little bit to the opportunities that he brings. And no, Robin Olsen, he's got to go. Right, we'll go to right back and we'll start with the Polish Cafu himself, Matty Cash.
Keep for me. Keep. It's dependent maybe on what business we do, but I've seen a bit of improvement from him recently, and I still think, you know, unless we get a really good bid in for him, maybe he's in my keep still.
Yeah, he's a keep for me, and yeah, I think even if we do good business, he'd be my backup right back. So yeah, keep. Simple as. Kane Kessler-Hayden is my next pick. I've gone loan.
I've gone loan. I really was a fan of him in pre-season. I wanted him to be part of the squad. I like what he offered. Since Emery's come in, I don't really see him as being a fullback under Emery. I reckon if we see him, he might be a wide midfielder, like an actual winger, because he's been playing wing back out on loan quite a bit. So I think that's maybe where we'd see him in the future if he makes it with us. But I'd go with loan again, and hopefully we could get a championship loan again, and hopefully he flourishes there.
Yeah, it's been a shame really to not see him sort of to buzz out on loan again, because he's the type of player you want to see in the future, but to me, no, he's not the type of loan player you want to bring in just yet, and he deserves a bit more time in the league, especially like the Championship. Now we've gone for the golden oldie himself, Ashley Young. I've gone keep, but as a utility player.
Yeah, keep. One more year, I think he could be invaluable when it comes to what we're trying to achieve in the season. You know, he's been there, done that. He's a good character to have around, I think, at least. And I'd like him to be part of the coaching setup possibly in the future. So, but yeah, for me, keep for, you know, another season.
Yeah, I just don't want to see him starting next year. I think,
yeah,
as much as I love him, I can't. It's a worrying time for me if that's the case. A possible right back extension. I know that's something that we both use on Football Manager, but hopefully it might come true soon. Ezri Konsa. What's your thoughts?
Keep. I don't think he's necessarily, for me, going to be in the starting 11 going forward. Not ruling him out of being that, because he's still young enough to, you know, he's not. I don't think he's in his prime yet, or he's just entering it. So he's still got bits to learn and bits to progress in, and he's been much better under Emery. So I think he's still a big part of this squad, at least, even if it's not the 11.
Yeah, I think I like seeing him. He seems like a really down to earth good bloke, and yeah, he's been with us through bad times. You want to keep players like that around, and yeah, like I agree with you. He's probably not going to be our starting centre back forever, but he's more than good enough to be our reserve centre back and one that comes in for injury or just for the odd game or so when fixtures pile up. Tyrone Mings, keep.
Obviously, it's keep. It is keep. He's still key to us at this time with this squad, and I also think going forwards as well, in the sense of how Newcastle are with Jamal Lascelles. I'm pretty sure he's still club captain, and he doesn't play all that often, but he's a big figurehead in that dressing room. Still, you can tell his personality is a leader. So I think we all know that there'll come a time where Mings isn't in the starting 11, but I think he's still going to have a big part to play in the club. So he's an easy keep because I still think he'll be part of the 11 next year. So keep for me.
Yeah, he signs that new long-term contract. He's just because he's just turned 30. You want players like that around, and I mean, if we're talking about keeping Ashley Young on, keeping Tyrone Mings is a no-brainer. I completely agree with that. It sounds weird to even put him in this list, but Diego Carlos, obviously keep at it.
Obviously keep. The only thing I would say as a side note is, I really hope that this injury hasn't hampered him too much because, if it's something that returns and he has niggles here and there, it's going to really put a dampener on the end of his career, I think. So, but if we get the Carlos back that we signed, he'll be in the starting 11. We need him in the starting 11.
Yeah, completely agree. So I've got a couple of left wing ones here now, not politically. You got Callum Chambers.
He's a squad player, so I think if there was a chance to bring in a replacement, he'd be gone for me. But whether that's maybe a loan to buy or whether that's just straight up sale right now, I think if you look at him, if he was to go this summer after bringing him in for peanuts and we make a little bit of a profit, you could say it was decent business in the end, because he came in and he did quite well for a little bit. But I think when we're talking about quality in the squad, we need a little bit better quality going forward.
So we're going for
sell and improve.
Yeah, I've gone sell too. That's good. I was worried. I thought we can't be debating this early, not on Callum Chambers. I'm sure there's one that'll come up. A bloke that is still registered as an Aston Villa player, and I think we should mention him. Courtney House or Horse.
Sell. Yeah. Sell. He's had a bit of a hard time out on loan with his injury and that, but he's not good enough and not featured a lot. And I hope he goes somewhere where he can find a bit of game time and hopefully stay fit.
Make a couple more tunes as well, wouldn't that as well?
Yeah, I was down with that banger he released. I think it was in lockdown, wasn't it? So
yeah,
it's a decent tune.
Again, sounds silly mention it, but we got to Alex Moreno. Keep.
Yeah, keep. He's my first choice left back. He has to be kept, obviously.
But maybe this could be a debate one. Lucas Digne.
I think we could have a more suitable left back cover, but I also like Dean. So for now, I'd still say keep.
Woo, debate. Sell. I put him down to sell. I'm not a big fan of him. I've not liked what I've seen this season at all. And if it's going to be a case of I think Moreno is clearly the avenue that we're going for as a left back. And while I think that Dean's playing a good role at the moment as support to him, I think there's probably a chance we could get better out there. If it was my list, which it is, I'm selling him and I'm finding a better replacement. Also, I don't think a player like Lucas Digne is going to be happy to play second fiddle to Alex Moreno. He's come to this club thinking that he's going to be our starting left back and challenging up the league. And I don't think it's sitting well with him right now that he's not admired by Emery as much as he wants to be and isn't our starting left back. So I think it was an interesting experiment, but I'd like to sell him, raise some profits, and I'd rather see us sign a younger left back and one that's probably more likely to develop into our team.
If we were to bring in Kyle Walker-Peters, I would also sell.
That was my ideal signing. For another video, of course, we'll do our signings, but yeah, that would be my one.
Yeah, but I don't see it as the priority now, so he's still marginally in keep for me.
Interesting. Right, we'll circle back to that one at the end. We got Douglas Luiz up next. We're going to midfield. Keep.
Yeah, keep trying to hold on to him, I think, more than anything,
I agree.
because, I'm pretty sure he's got a release clause in his contract. I don't think it would make sense if he didn't have one in there signing at the point that he did with 5 months left. He wants that contingency plan for if a big bid comes in. So yeah, it's got to be key player to us, integral. It's keeping hold of him that could be an issue, and that's when we're going to have to dip into the market even more so if we do lose him.
Baffling that we had people talking on deadline day about taking 15 million for him. You know what I mean? Like it is mental, but yeah. I mean, it's not even worth mentioning. But Boubacar Kamara, keep
next.
Give him £1 million a week and never let him leave my football club.
Yeah, he's their best player for me currently in this squad, and Luiz is probably just as talented, but I think Kamara is just too much of a specialist in that position. He's key to us. Keeping hold of him again.
Yeah.
Just a season with us, you've seen his qualities. So yeah, try and keep hold of him.
Agreed. John McGinn.
It's hard on.
Because I found this one hard, but I even got brackets. But in case anyone knows, I've actually got a whole piece of paper where I wrote all this out. I've got it in brackets as well, my explanation for it, but I'd like to hear yours first.
I mean, I'm happy with how he's been playing recently. He's been so much better. But I think at the stage that we're at, if again, like Chambers, but at a better level, if we got a decent amount of money for McGinn, if someone came in for him, I would take it in the sense that we could use it for someone that's going to progress. Like we want a younger player in that sense. It's a hard one. I'd probably more say keep, but I would take a decent fee for him. So I'll still say keep, but on the edge of sell if it was the right money.
Yeah, I think for the right price, there's quite a few of these players that I changed to sell, but I don't think McGinn's a priority to sell. I've put him down as keep. I put him down as a utility player. I wouldn't particularly be too impressed if I'm still seeing us line up week in, week out with him playing, but the way he's been performing recently, I wouldn't argue with it. It just, to me, would signal a stagnation in the team. But again, I think he can play a really good role, and I'd be interested to see what he'd be like coming off the bench in that area. Because I mean, could you imagine you've been run ragged for 60 minutes and John McGinn's coming on sticking his ass out every 2 minutes at you? I wouldn't want to play against that. So yeah, I put him down as keep as well. The interesting two, Emi Buendia.
Yeah, keep.
Yeah,
big fan of Emi. I can see where people come from when they say, I think you see a lot more impact off the bench from him, but I also think that he's a big part when we keep the ball. He likes to keep it ticking. The thing is, though, I don't think he's irreplaceable, but I don't personally want to see him go. So he'd be keep for me, but it's an area where I think we should strengthen with someone like Malero that we were linked to in January, if you know what I mean. So yeah, keep, but there is side notes to it.
Yeah, it's the case with a lot of them, isn't it? I agree. Keep him. I like what he brings to the team, but it's an interesting one because he's not perfect, and that's the case with a club like ours and players like ours. They're not going to be perfect, because if they were perfect players, so I'd say it to everyone, they would not be at our club. Unless you're Boubacar Kamara, in which case you are at our club. Please don't ever leave.
Don't tell everyone.
So we got for listeners of the pod from the start, we got Tesco Value Coke up next. Felipe Coutinho. I've got him down as keep on current form.
I've got him down as sell, and that's hard actually for me to say because I really like having Coutinho at the club still. I think I still have a bit of a novelty around it that I like, and I think he has those moments where it's just so good to watch, and he has been performing better when he's had these little cameos and starting under Emery. But if we're going forward, I think he's what now? He's probably 30 now, I think. I'd say he's 30 at least, and I think we've got to look more towards the future. Bring in someone that they might not have the same quality as him, but in time they're going to be a key part to the squad. So I'm just thinking long term, he would be in sell for me, which, as I say, is quite sad to say.
Yeah, like I said, his current form, I'd like to see him staying around the club. But from what I've seen this season, and from where I see the likes of Jacob Ramsey's career going, and that front line developing, I think I would put it this way: if he gets sold, I'm not going to be too upset about it. It makes sense. It's a sensible business decision if he does go. On to the next, Leander Dendoncker.
I'd feel sorry for saying it, but I'd still say sell. You know, I think we can get better quality. Again, you know, I don't usually speak like this about quality because I like to stay behind the group that we've got, and I think they're capable. But if we're looking ahead again, Dendoncker was brought in by Gerrard because he's got experience and he's got stature. But we've seen a couple of times he did well against Brentford, I think it was, when we won 4-0 after Gerrard was sacked, and he had a couple of decent showings, and I think against United as well when Emery came in. But I don't think he's got the pace in midfield or the legs to keep up with how we could be caught out sometimes on transition. And I think his passing range is okay, but I just think we could get something more. We could get someone, again, a little bit younger and has a little bit more dynamism to offer. So he'd be sell for me.
Yeah, I've put him down as sell. But if it means that we're going to not develop in areas where I think we should be really focusing on, then I think it's a good utility player to have around. If it means that we've got funds to go more up top,
Fair.
Now on to the brothers themselves. Jacob Ramsey, keep.
Yeah, keep. Definitely. I think he's still got a lot more developing to do. You know, he's only young and he'll benefit from a pre-season under Emery. He'll benefit from more quality coming in around him and learning his trade more in this system. I think we're probably going to see more in and out of the 11 next season, which is fine. You know, he can make impacts off the bench or now and again starting, which is fine. But for me, he's still a really big prospect. So it's an easy keep. That one is for me.
Easy piece. Well, nothing more to add on that. I love the bloke, and I just want to see him play well. You know, ever since I saw him celebrating in that Blues away end, you just want him to do well, don't you?
Yeah.
We're going to his brother, who's currently coming into a bit of a good bit of form for Borough. Aaron Ramsey. I've gone loan.
It was another one that I really struggled thinking of because I like what he can offer, but I think a loan probably would. I would like a loan to another Premier League team, to be honest, lower down, because I know that they're helping another team around us, but I think he's shown what he can do in the Championship, but I think he might still fall short if we're strengthening our squad in the summer. So it's a tough one, but I probably would say loan again, but I think he's close, you know. And it's not that he's got bags of quality. He's still got a lot to improve, but I like what he offers in and around the box, to be honest.
It's not easy, that one. I put loan mainly because I think he suffered from the first half of his season, didn't go particularly well for him at Norwich, unfortunately. It wasn't like he was the worst player in the world. He came into a bit of form at the end of it. I feel like he's only benefited now from probably about what will end up being 6 good months in the Championship. I probably quite prefer to see a short loan, if possible. Sort of one with an option to bring back in January, if possible, and just let him have the first half of the season out, and then maybe bring him back if things are a bit short, or you know he's clearly outweighing what we expected. But yeah, I've gone loan because I do expect us to have enough of those positions to sort out next season and to not miss him so much. Now on to who we believe might have been our own N'Golo Kante, but unfortunately did not go that way. Marvelous Nakamba.
So he served a purpose for a period of time, but
yeah,
I don't think I've seen him pulling up any trees in the Championships. He's not good enough, but you know, he seems like a nice bloke. He's just, it is time to move on more players like that now.
The time for him's passed. I agree. I enjoyed watching him when he did play particularly well. Those first few games under Gerrard, wasn't it? Were just outstanding, and we thought we
Yeah.
finally got this player that we imagined, and it just didn't materialise, which is a shame. But yeah, I think it'd be good for him and good for us if we just part ways at this point. Speaking of players, I think we all want to part ways with because we just don't hear about him anymore. Morgan Sanson, go for it.
He would be sell. I liked Sanson. I thought he had something to offer, but I think 3 managers weren't too keen on him starting regularly. So there's got to be something there. And again, so a lot of these players, I'm thinking financially too, because it frees up a lot of the wage bill. If we wanted to bring in quality, we need that space. So yeah, he would be sell. Or if we can't find a sale, it would be another loan for a season.
Yeah, I think it's time to move him on. I don't think it's going to come true that he's just going to burst into our team and suddenly become one of our best ever players. Unfortunately, it's just not the right fit. He's clearly not wanted, and yeah, frees up money, frees up wage, frees up space. Just let's call it a day and let him go play in France. I don't believe he's setting the world alight in League Good at the moment either. So yeah, I think that's time for that.
Philogene Bidace, I'll keep him.
Keep as in not even loan out.
Yeah, keep.
Wow.
I know that he's not particularly stood out as such in Cardiff in the attacking sense, but you've got to remember what sort of team they are as well. They are a really hard-working team, but he's also shone in at times where he is exciting on the ball. He's at a stage, I think he's 21 or 22. He's a little bit older, so if it's his time, it'll be now. I like what he offers on the ball. I think he's really silky. He likes to try and beat his man, and he can find space in the box. And I think I don't know what it is about him. I have this feeling about him that he's gonna really benefit from being under Emery, and in pre-season I think he's going to get a chance because I feel like he could really shine in one of those wide positions or maybe as a second striker. So that might be a bit of a curveball. Well, it probably will be a bit of a curveball one, but yeah, I actually personally keep him.
It was a curveball. I thought that was that's been put down on my list as a double tick, as in I thought that we knew where this was going. I like it. I put loan only because some of these players to me haven't shown me exactly what we need at the time of which they'll be coming back in, and I'd be interested to see if how they'll fit around. I'd be all down for keeping him if our summer doesn't go the way we're expecting it to be. But like I said, maybe he's got a different role in the team, and maybe it's different to what I'm envisioning. But I've got it down for loan. I'd like to see him go on loan to a Championship team, maybe like a Watford or a Norwich if they don't get promoted. A team where he's going to have the chance to fight a bit higher up and maybe show a bit more about what he's about. But you know, I'm speculative about that one. The two coming up are very interesting. We'll go for the first. We'll go for Finn Azaz. I've gone a direct loan to the Championship.
Yeah, that feels like the next step for him. He's done League 2, League 1. I think Championship is the natural next step. Again, he's at I don't want to say weird age. It's a bit of a weird saying, but he's at an age where he's not really a youth player, but he is to us still.
Yeah,
he is a very good player in those lower leagues. He's too good for it, and I think the Championship's the next step. And I think he'll take to it. I think he'll take to it easily. He looks like a player that when he's around better players, he becomes even better again. You know, he's been really good at Plymouth. He's got double digits in goal contributions. When we watched him in pre-season last summer, he played a bit of a deeper role in dictating, and he looked comfortable on the ball. So it's interesting because I feel like he's almost too late to make it with us. But you know, players develop differently at different times. So I think it's a loan to the Championship, and then we see where we are from there.
Yeah, I'd like to see him maybe just. I mean, they look almost certain to go up, but it's Plymouth, so you never know with them lot. But obviously, if they stay up, I wouldn't mind just loaning him back to him and just seeing how he gets on there with the team he's more comfortable with. I always prefer that if a player can stay on loan at a club they've been with, because it eliminates that settling in period and knowing where they are and that sort of stuff. Because no matter what, I think no matter where you're moving abroad or within the country, there becomes a settling in period, and that just knocks a player off a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to say his name wrong, so I'm just going to let you say it.
Emi Martinez.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think it's still a bit up in the air for some commentators. I think they still call him Irugbunim quite a lot, but I'm pretty sure his last name is Robenham, and
I trust you over them.
it's an easy keep for me. Easy keep because I wanted him to stay around the squad last summer, and I know that there's a lot of the Villa fan base that's saying he's not impressed particularly at QPR, but he actually has. He dipped in form, and I think a lot of that was to do with Beale left, Critchley come in, and that I didn't realise until the other day they're below Blues in the table now, and they were vying for automatics. So he's had a lot to deal with himself, and then he scored 2 goals in the last 3 games. Now he interests me. I had him down as a defensive midfielder at first, but I think he's a bit more than that as well. Now he's very similar to Jacob Ramsey. I'll say that he has the same sort of style as Yaya Toure. He's powerful on the ball, carrying it and getting in around the box. So he has to stay for me. Someone said on Twitter the other day, which I completely agree with, if he didn't play for us, Villa fans would be asking us to sign him.
Yeah.
He's got to be part of the squad for me.
Yeah, I've put down keep as well. I think especially if you're going to lose the likes of Coutinho, and you want to be changing that squad up, it'd be great to have the likes of Tim in, especially if his game's developing, like we've mentioned and you've mentioned a lot. And also, I knew for a fact if I didn't put keep, you might throttle me. So I did. That was a strategic keep, but no, I completely agree. We're going to move on to the attackers now. I mean, I'm amazed at the lack of debate so far. We are like kindred spirits, really, aren't we? Just one of the same mind. Maybe it might not continue throughout these next few, but
I'm hoping that we disagree. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's on Emery. I reckon we should sell him. We'll start with the obvious one. Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, keep. He has proved himself to the fans that dated him for while he was under Gerrard, and he was starved of confidence and starved of chances quite often under Gerrard. We've seen what a sort of striker he is now. He is the complete package, really. He presses, he can carry the ball, he can link up, and he can finish. He's not the most prolific striker, but as we always say, if he was, he'd be at Man City, he'd be at Arsenal, he'd be somewhere else. So I don't think people realise how lucky we are that we've got him still. He would bring in a big fee. So he's an easy keep for me.
Yeah, I put him down as keep. I think we're actually going to struggle in the summer. I think you're going to have the likes of someone like an Arsenal come in for him. He is just an Arsenal player written all over for me for some reason. I could just see him in the kit. It's just one of those. But then again, I always saw Daniel Sturridge in a Villa kit for some reason. That never materialised. But some of those players that just look like they belong at a club. He's one of those. And yeah, I'd love to keep him. That's my intention anyway. I'm going to carry on with the obvious as well. Jean Duran. Keep.
We know that we're going to strengthen up top in the summer, but we tend to play with 2 forwards. I know one of them's a bit more versatile in dropping out wide or dropping deep. I'd personally like to keep him because of what we've seen so far. I think if you'd have asked me a few weeks ago when he first came in, I'd have probably said loan because we know that we're going to strengthen in the summer. But I'd like to keep him. It just does depend on what business we do, because if we bring in 2, it's either him or Archer that's probably going to take the hit.
Yeah, I've gone keep. I like what he brings. I enjoy watching him every time he steps foot on the pitch. Also, it doesn't make sense to me bringing him in, starting him, and then loaning him. Keep leads us on to Cameron Archer. Some people have overestimated Cameron Archer a little bit in my mind, and have sort of made it out like if, for example, he wasn't to stay over the summer, then we've missed out on arguably the best striker ever to be made. However, I have gone keep, priority keep.
Yeah, he's a keep for me. I think, twice he's going out to the Championship now in January. I think he went out in January for Preston as well, didn't he?
I think so.
And I know he's not scored as many so far, but he looks such a good player on the ball for this really nice Middlesbrough team. Watching them, they're really fun to watch, and his link-up play's improved. He's got 4 goals in 10 now, I think. He's got a couple of assists. he is a very good finisher. I think we might have overstated how good of a striker he is, but I think that's the nature of being so excited about a forward like that.
Yeah.
But I think if you do put a lot of the chances in front of him that some of our strikers have had, he puts away a good few of them. But yeah, he would be keep. Again, though, as I said with Durant, it depends on the business that we do, doesn't it? And I think he does need to impress Emery in pre-season. Otherwise, we are staring down the barrel of it could be a sale if certain things happened, if you know what I mean. But for me, it would. I really want to keep him. I really want him to be a Villa player in the future.
Yeah, the problem we've got to remember with this is that football's more than just feelings, and as great as it would be to have all the every single club wants 11 youth players to be their world beaters, but unfortunately it might not be that way. And if it comes to a business decision, I wouldn't put it past them going, well, look, if someone's coming in with a silly amount for him and it frees up funds and we've already strengthened this position, that is like a business decision that other clubs make, that you go, for example, like you see loads of clubs that sell their youth players that go on to do amazing things. You think, why'd they ever let them go? Money happens, and people need funds. And unfortunately, as much as I love Nasref, we're not it's not an endless fund, is it? So, no. Which brings us on to, I think, to me, probably an obvious sell, which is Keane Davis.
Yeah, his time is up, isn't it? Really,
heartbreaking for me, because
I really like Keenan.
It was against Norwich. I remember watching him, and he does this little dink, and it hits the bar, and I just remember watching, this is going to be one hell of a player for us. It just never materialised.
No, it was, his injuries just didn't help him at all. He was so hampered with injuries, and it's a shame, because I think that season that we nearly went down, I think he was out for a period of time where he could have been really handy for us. And I think he did come back towards the end of it. It was just, he's not had much luck. I liked him for his commitment and hard work, because he wasn't always in the squad, and he was out injured and that, but he always put in 100% when he played. Yeah. And he could be a handful. He was a bit of a battering ram, but yeah, he's not good enough, unfortunately. And I hope he can find some consistent fitness and a club where he can play regularly.
Yeah, I'd love it. And again, it wouldn't upset me too much if I saw him at another Premier League team doing well, just not against us. I love the bloke, and it's just not the right club for him, not the right time. Sell, get whatever we can, and move on. Speaking of moving on, yes, this player is still contracted to us. I checked on the ABFC website this morning. Wesley Moraes, sell.
I hate saying sell, but yeah, sell. Yeah. I really like Wesley. I was in the minority. I thought he was close to being really good for us before that injury against Burnley. He was a very strange player at first. You had to really get used to him, but he was a big bloke, and he was all right with the ball at his feet, and he improved as he went on. I remember when he scored, I think he'd been out. Had he been out injured then? When he scored against Liverpool in the Cup?
Yeah.
Or he'd either been injured or he'd been on a goal drought, and when he scored, that was probably one of the biggest celebrations. Drought. Yeah, one of the biggest celebrations that I've done, because I really like Wesley, and I really wish it would have worked out better, but it's got to be a sale, really, and we won't get too much for him, but it is what it is, isn't it?
No, I just hope Emi has like a really, really horrible evening most nights, because it just upset me too much, that injury, because like you say, he just come off a really good game, and it's upsetting, but yeah, it's the type of player you don't keep around. Next player, one that impressed me in the most recent game, but he's a debatable figure, bless him. It is Bertrand Traore.
Yeah. Sell. I don't think he's good enough. I know what he can offer, but not on a consistent enough basis.
Not for where we want to be.
Yeah, and I think he's also approaching that age as well, where we could probably get someone younger that's going to offer more long term.
Yeah. As flashy as he can be on the ball, and as mind-numbingly annoying and exciting all in one package he can be, it is sell. I'd rather him just move on and go somewhere else and enjoy the rest of his career and part ways with a nice handshake and a fond memory of that goal against West Brom. I will mention it every time his name comes up. I watch it most days. I love it.
Yeah.
The last and least, Leon Bailey.
If someone came in for him, I would sell him personally. I don't dislike him, and I think he's obviously got ability, but I think we could get someone a little bit more suited to what we want to be, which is a shame because we spent decent money. It was about 30 million on him, I think. There was excitement surrounding it when we brought him in, but say if an Ajax come in for him, which I think would suit him more, and we could get a decent amount of money back for him, possibly. I'd personally be looking for someone a little bit different. So I slightly reluctantly put him in sell.
Well, while we don't disagree, it was not a reluctant sale for me. He's been on my list for a while of players where I wouldn't be too happy to see you next season, because I think there's better out there, or at least there's better in our team at the moment, and we could have a better player coming off the bench. I don't like what he offers now when he starts. I don't like what he offers coming off the bench, particularly too much. I know what there is in there, but a bit like Bertrand Traore, it's not consistent enough. These teams up above us, they've got players that play for them that are consistently good enough to perform, and that's what we need at this point. We can't have bystanders for 3 games. I can't be watching players spoon chances wide when they need to be getting them on target. I need to see players beating their man. I need to see players playing with confidence, and he's just not doing that at the moment. So he is a sell for me. And I think that brings us to a close of our list.
An honourable mention. I think he'd probably be old enough to go for a loan. Really interested in Rory Wilson. He's a bit of a gunman, and I think potentially a loan to a lower league side where he can, play the man's game in League Two maybe. I'd like to see him go out there because he'll learn a lot, even if he's not scoring regularly. He will learn a lot there. So he's a really interesting figure in the academy, and yeah, I mean, I suppose you could bring Caden Young into it because he's been part of the squad as well, but we still haven't seen too much of him. If we could get him alone, perhaps that'd be a good move, I think.
And perhaps maybe last mention, maybe Louis Barry.
Yeah, he looked like he was going to set the world alight at one point. That goal against Liverpool, I'll always remember. It was such a surreal game, but he has struggled at times, quite a lot. Whether that's on him, whether that's on where he's been, whether it's a bit of both, I don't know. He still looks a bit too slender as well, so he'll be looking to be another loan, I'd imagine. I wouldn't even be surprised if it was a sale.
No, I've put him down on my honourable mentions list as a sale, to be honest. I just think there's enough on our books already, and enough that will come through in a few years' time to sort of solidify us. And yeah, I think he's not had the easiest run of it, and I'll always remember that goal, like you said. But yeah, I think that might be it, unfortunately. And well, I mean, there's a few more videos we've got planned coming up where I think there will be a bit more of a debate between us. I'm glad we started it off as a measured take. There's not going to be any drama videos coming up next, of speaking my truth against James.
Yeah, we'll have diss tracks coming out soon after the debate.
I've been practicing. I've even got the mic ready, you see.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, as you can see by now, we have the formulated list up of our keep, loan, and sell for the season coming up in the transfer window. Let us know your thoughts. Obviously, we're keen to get some feedback. It'd be interesting to see where we're at the end of the transfer window and relay back to this when we've kept Lucas Digne, sold Matty Cash, and given Boubacar Kamara knighthood. Beautiful stuff. Well, as always, make sure you smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and delicately tap, but ensure that it's selected, the notifications button as well. Make sure you follow James, myself on Twitter as well, and of course AVFC Faithful and the podcast. And keep your eye out for the next video. But until then, up the Villa.
Up the Villa.